What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/EntitledParents. This story's called Entitled Sister Tries to Kick My Pregnant Self Down the Stairs. Not on mobile, but format will probably suck anyway. Grammar warning, crap spelling, blah blah blah, long time lurker, first time poster, kinda long, but this needs to be shared. Here's the cast. Me. Massive earphones, what the? Entitled Mom. Entitled Sister.
Policeman 1, Policeman 2.
Awesome Sister. Boyfriend, now ex-husband. For a bit of context, this was about 4 to 5 years ago, so the dialogue probably won't be 100% accurate. I was about 5 months pregnant. I was 16 and living with my entitled mom and entitled sister. Yes, the child's dad was in the picture. My mother had always been extremely entitled and considered her own issues above others, even her own children. It once took her over a week of me complaining after a sports accident to be seen by a doctor. I had a severe concussion, but that's a story for another time. On to the story. The day had started off like any other, but I was in a pretty bad mood. Pregnancy hormones are raging, and I looked like a ticking time bomb to boyfriend. He suggested coming over to my house to cuddle and watch movies. I happily agreed, but told him I had to ask entitled mom first, and we simultaneously sighed. Entitled mom has never liked boyfriend, and at this point, I had known him for 8 years. We were good friends before we decided to start dating. I go and ask her as nicely as possible if me and him could spend some time together, as I was feeling kinda stressed and needed to relax. Keep in mind, he literally lives right across the street. Mom, can boyfriend please come over and watch movies with me? I'm feeling kinda stressed out and I'd like to spend some time with him.
No, I've got a headache, and besides, look where spending time with him got you anyways.
Okay, but you didn't need to be rude. Entitled mom mumbles something I couldn't make out. I call him back up and let him know it's a no-go. We're both obviously disappointed, but really can't do much about it. Boyfriend suggests playing Minecraft together, and I agree before hanging up and going to get on my computer. We're both huge gaming nerds, and Minecraft was our little thing we did together when entitled mom refused to let me see him. Jump forward to later on that night. I had forgotten all about entitled mom's rude comment and was feeling pretty content. I was making my way to the bathroom when entitled sister cuts in front of me.
I need to pee.
Okay, can I go first? I really gotta go.
No, I was here first, and you should have gone sooner if you needed to go that badly.
Fine. Entitled sister takes a whole 5 minutes, but for a pregnant chick, it feels like forever. Finally, entitled sister comes out and goes down the hall into her room. I walk in and didn't even get the chance to shut the door before entitled mother pushes it back open.
I need to take a bath.
Okay, just let me pee real quick.
No, get out. I need to take a bath first.
I contained my sigh and walked back out the door. I go back to my room and 10 minutes later, I'm dangerously close to pissing myself. I go to the bathroom door and knock. Mom, I really need to pee. Can I please come in and use the bathroom?
Yes, just make it quick.
I've barely just sat down before the bomb drops. I knew her just dropping it was too good to be true. For some context, I've always been a good and quiet kid. Even as a teen, I never smoked, never did drugs, and wasn't whoring around. A breaking condom was the cause of my pregnancy.
You were very disrespectful today.
How?
You know I don't like boyfriend. Why would you ask if he could come over? You should be more respectful than that.
Me getting more irritated. I've been pretty stressed out this week and I just wanted some support. He's the father of my child, after all.
Do I not support you? Do I not give you a roof over your head and food to eat? You should be thankful I'm letting you stay here in your condition.
Biting my tongue, I say, you know I love you, but I need a different kind of support sometimes. I need some emotional support. I stand up to leave when I hear her mumble under her breath.
Whores don't get emotional support.
I froze for a minute, trying to process what she just said. I was used to her insults by now. From a young age, 5 or 6, I was called many things, including useless, pathetic, lazy, stupid, and a few others. She would constantly put me down and borderline beats and degrade me. My dad was a druggie and an alcoholic, still is, and was never in the picture. Hell, I didn't even meet him until I was 8 years old. She would constantly say that I would end up just like him and that I shouldn't even try to be more than that. I was heavily depressed from the age of 10 onward, and I still deal with depression now. I saw red. I just stood there for a second before sitting back down onto the closed toilet. She paid me no attention situation at all. I don't condone violence, and thinking back, I shouldn't have lost my temper, but those hormones are a bench. I stood up and threw a bra at her while she was in the tub. She started screaming like a maniac, and I started out the bathroom, visibly angry. Entitled sister comes bursting from her room and shoots past me into the bathroom. Here's a little visual for you guys. I lived in a 2-story apartment with the bathroom door just to the side of the staircase, but on the opposite wall. It's 2 sets of stairs with a landing in the middle and railings on the sides of the stairs. My mom's room was directly to the right of the stairs, and mine and Entitled sister's bedrooms were down a short hallway. I start towards the stairs as I was intent on storming out of the house. All of a sudden, I feel Entitled sister kick me very hard in the back between my shoulder blades. I quickly grabbed onto the rail with my right hand and catch myself with the other, and ended up stumbling down 1 or 2 of the top steps.
What the hell is wrong with you? I'm pregnant, you dumbass! I'm calling the police.
I threw a bra at her. Why the hell would you call the police? Entitled sister then ignored me as she pulled out her phone and dialed 911. She went back into the bathroom and shut the door. I head downstairs and go outside to cool off on the front porch. Sure enough, not 5 minutes later, 2 police cars pull up and Entitled mom and Entitled sister walk outside.
I got called about a domestic assault.
Entitled mother points at me sitting down.
She attacked me while I was in the bathtub.
Not really, sir. She insulted me and I threw a bra at her. I never laid a hand on her. Policeman 1 takes a good minute to look at me. I guess he noticed my belly and seen that I had been crying. I wasn't showing a lot, but it was still noticeable. He motions for Policeman 2 to come over, and I walk off to the side with him and I tell him everything that happened, including earlier today. Policeman 2 walks me back over to them. Policeman 2 says to Entitled sister,
"Ma'am, is it true you tried to kick her down the stairs, and are you fully aware that she is pregnant?"
She's lying. She's the violent one. She attacked Mom.
Do you have any proof of Entitled sister doing this?
I turn around and lift up my long hair, and lo and behold, there is a partially visible shoe print on my back. Policeman 1 asks if he can look, and I consent to him pulling down the collar of my t-shirt, only for them to see a sizable bruise starting to form. Policeman 1 asks if Entitled sister can explain this, but she clams up completely, and Entitled mom acts like there is nothing there. Policeman 1 leads me off towards one of the cars while Policeman 2 stands with them.
"I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have you call someone to come and pick you up for the night. I need to ask you, would you like to press charges against Entitled sister?"
Thinking back now, I wish I had. I told him that doing that would only make my home life worse than it is now. He said that since I was 16, I should look into emancipation. I denied an ambulance ride, stating that I would get checked out in the morning. Entitled sister was told that no charges would be pressed against her for assault of a pregnant woman. I still watched the color drain from her face regardless. Meanwhile, I called Awesome Sister and filled her in on what happened. She got there almost as quick as the cops did, and we had a long chat on the ride to her house. Entitled mom is still entitled, but so much less than she used to be. When I turned 18, I verbally tore her a new one, and with no danger of getting kicked out, as I then lived with boyfriend, who I was married to at the time. Entitled sister is no longer entitled, and we get along great. Realizing she almost went to jail, she did a complete 180 on life and is now a healthy, responsible, and unentitled adult. Wait a second, it says that she did a complete 180, but she says looking back she wished she pressed charges? What? If she changed her ways, why would you want to put her in jail, man? What? Anyways, this is definitely a story of horrible behavior, but I'm glad they more or less changed their ways. This story's called, "You're Gonna Send Her Into Labor, You..." Happened years ago on a flight from someplace in Florida to Columbus, Ohio. This was literally the trip from hell for a family wedding. Witnessed a car accident, saw 2 people nearly get arrested in the airport for fighting, our plane ran out of backup oxygen and required everyone to get on and off twice. The airport had to go on lockdown because the president was landing, a junior bridesmaid hid the marriage license, and it took an hour to find it. The makeup artist was a no-show, so I did everyone's makeup. That is not a strength of mine. The groom's mom changed into jorts for the mother-son dance, and she did it because
this wedding wasn't gonna count.
I had to borrow a leaf blower from the wedding venue to clean the photo area while in my bridesmaid's dress. A different bridesmaid got into a huge fight with her ex-boyfriend. It started when she flashed her nails at her ex, yelling,
"I'm with Travis now."
The name Travis and a bunch of hearts were written on her nails as nail art. Another bridesmaid broke the stiletto heel of her shoe when it slid into a bullet hole in the floor of the rehearsal venue, etc. Regular Florida stuff. Literally, the list keeps going and would make for a decent comedic movie if I hadn't had to live it. All that said, this interaction on the last flight of our trip back was just maddening. Only my dad and I attended this family wedding. My mom was essentially boycotting it, and my brother couldn't get the time off. The two of us were on our way back north and flying southwest, which is key to the story since it's a seating free-for-all. When this happened, for the first time on the trip, we were in boarding group B or C rather than D. We didn't really care where we sat since we are fully grown adults, but it's always nice to sit near family. We ended up picking a set of seats towards the back of the plane and noticed this poor guy sweating bullets. He looks terrified. The whole thing was a little alarming until a flight attendant walked by and asked the man how things were going. Turns out he was scared of flying. After hearing that, the flight team took mercy on the guy and let him board early. To help settle his nerves, they pick him a seat in the last row of the plane, saying it was the safest part of the aircraft in an accident. Putting him there also meant the flight attendants would be seated nearby and could help if something went wrong. I'll call this guy Trevor. Not much later, next boards this witch and her awful father. Witch appears to be pregnant, though not alarmingly so, if that makes sense. She's snapping her gum loudly, a tic of mine, and starts complaining about the lack of remaining seat options. Rather than take the row of seats in front of my father and I that were open, she turns her eyes towards Trevor in the back row, which says to Trevor,
"Hey, so I was told by my doctor that I have to sit in the back of the plane. I need you to move."
Trevor literally just looks at her confused and shakes his head no, which starts whining,
"But I don't want my baby to be hurt. Why would you do this to us?"
This goes on for a minute or two, with awful father glaring at Trevor. Trevor is literally panicking now and grabbing his stuff. He shuffles out of the way and ends up taking the row in front of my father and I. Since the witch and awful father are now behind us, this is what we hear.
"Thank God that guy moved. These planes always have the best legroom in the back."
Side note, what?
"And I way overpacked. There was no way I was letting this get curb checked."
The entire time she's saying this, Witch was gesturing to her overflowing Vera Bradley sack. My dad and I are now seeing red, but didn't want to make a scene and delay this flight. After going through hell, we just wanted to get home. Turns out a scene was going to happen anyway. The plane doors are then shut and the attendants start safety checks. As one walks to the back of the plane, she noticed that Trevor has moved seats. The attendant gets to Trevor's row and leans over, speaking to Trevor in hushed tones that we couldn't hear. Once they are done talking, the attendant glares at the witch and says,
"Excuse me, what did you tell this man and why do you need to sit there?"
The witch starts panicking and immediately starts crying, saying that her doctor told her she needed to sit in the back of the plane for safety reasons, and to sit anywhere else could make her sick. She then essentially implied that sitting anywhere else would induce immediate miscarriage. Whatever? That's clearly a lie, and the flight attendant is starting to lose her temper. She too was on Trevor's side, and being forced to move didn't help matters. The flight attendant then starts pushing back, saying,
"If you're so high risk, why are you even flying? Do you not want your baby?"
In response, the witch starts screeching unintelligibly. The only stuff that made sense were the phrases,
"You're gonna get fired, you dumb bench, I'll sit where I want, and my baby is more important than you."
While Witch is screaming, Awful Father starts digging around in his bag ominously and yelling something along the lines of,
"If this baby dies, it's because of you. You're gonna send her into labor, you bench. I won't let you kill my first grandbaby."
Since everyone is seated, except for everyone screaming, one of the other attendants runs to the back, calms down the yelling attendant, and tells everyone to just sit if we want to take off. For the rest of the flight, the angry attendant sat in the jump seat closest to the witch and Awful Father, glaring, while Witch and Awful Father just casually keep saying snarky things in her direction.
"The customer is always right. You're so going to get fired. Just see if we'll fly you guys again.
And worst of all,
we get what we want."
Thankfully, in addition to my dad and I checking in on Trevor, the glaring flight attendant was checking in on him too. We all ultimately made it to our destination, but to end this story, police were indeed waiting at the gate when our plane arrived. Reaching into a bag on a plane and making threats, Awful Father, is a terrible idea if you don't want to be arrested. Oh, and P.S., the married couple did end up getting divorced. That's a pretty good story too for a different day. You know what, reading that story was like sleeping in wet clothes. Oh, it was just so uncomfortable. Not because it was a bad story, but just because of all this stuff. Ugh.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.